What's up, guys? Today we're going to be talking about how ads are so expensive and why you should focus on free traffic scaling. But everyone online is screaming about ads, running ads, scaling with ads, and retargeting ads. But 90% of people running them are still struggling to make their ends meet. And the reason why is because the ad isn't always what sells the prospect, the sales page does. And in this video, I'm going to show you the exact 3-step sales page process I used to make my client $180,000 in 30 days without touching a single ad. Now, before we get into that, you need to understand something. The reason most sales pages don't convert isn't to do with your design, your headline, or even your call to action. It's because your page is fighting basic human psychology, all right? Most people build their pages like billboards. They focus all of their energy on this crazy design to get the reader's attention, but they forget about the most important part about their target avatar. They're looking for something that feels like it understands them. And this is where everything shifts, right? When you stop writing a page at someone and start building a page for someone, conversions climb as high as 15%. So let me break this down so simply you'll never see sales pages the same way again. So this is the 3-step sales page, and once you understand it, you'll realize you never needed complicated design or moving parts. You just needed to present clarity, right? So the first step of all of this is the open. This is where you build instant alignment with your target avatar. Most pages start the open by talking about the offer, but that's like walking up to a stranger and asking them to marry you, right? Instead, your open has one job: to make sure the reader says, "Holy shit, that's me." And you do that by reflecting the frustration they're already living with. For example, let's say you help creators grow their income with content, right? So instead of going into what the system is or even showing off testimonials, you start with something like, "Dear reader, if you've been posting nonstop, trying every trend, and somehow it still feels like no one's buying, you're not alone." That's the open. It's not anything fancy. It's empathy for the person overcoming a limitation of theirs, right? And if you can describe their problem better than they can, they automatically assume you have the solution. Now, if you get this part right, you won't need gimmicks or stare at your screen for what it seems to be like hours trying to figure out what to write. They'll continue reading because they feel seen. Now, once you got this alignment, we go to step 2, the shift. This is the turning point where you transform their skepticism into belief. Okay, see, most people who land on your page don't actually believe you because they don't even believe in themselves, right? They've tried similar products before, failed with it, and they feel like they've been burned, right? So your job here is to not throw proof or testimonials. It's to reframe how they think, okay? Let me explain on the board here. So on the left side, you have where your prospect's belief is right now, low, flat, and skeptical. And on the right, you have where it needs to be for them to take action: confident, hopeful, and ready, right? The 3-step sales page creates a smooth curve that lifts that belief as they scroll down and read. And the shift is the middle of that curve. This is where you introduce the unique mechanism. It's the core idea that makes your offer make sense. For example, you don't need to run more ads, you need more alignment in your message. If your message matches your market, traffic becomes automatic and consistent. Now, do you see how that one sentence reframes the entire conversation? Suddenly, my free traffic scaling mechanism doesn't sound like a fantasy. It sounds easy, safe, and most important, very possible, right? This is where you sprinkle your proof, screenshots, results, or stories that support the new frame, but you keep the focus on the idea and not on you. Because when you can shift the mind of people in that specific pain, they'll buy your frameworks and not prejudge the product based on whose face is attached to it. Right? Now, the third step is the close. This won't be about creating false urgency or scarcity. It's about asking for permission. So by the time someone reaches the end of your page, they've already imagined themselves succeeding. Your only job from there is to make acting on that vision feel natural, okay? This is where you shift from going into what you offer to this is what happens next. Let me explain a little. So instead of dumping features, you can clarify the outcomes of the product, right? And you do that by telling them exactly what's going to happen the moment they join and why this works even if you failed before. And here's why now is the perfect time. And then most importantly, you reduce friction. So every time they have to think about something is friction. Every question and every bit of confusion is friction. When I built that $180,000 page and offer, I asked myself one thing: what's everything that can make this decision hard and how do I remove it? And basically what I did was I removed unnecessary design aspects, simplified the copy, and I made the checkout page feel like a continuation of the same conversation in the sales page, right? Because the reader needs to be led, right? That's what a great sales page does. Like, what's the point of having all this design if someone going on the page doesn't get past the VSL portion, right? Now, let me show you how this works in a simple visual model, right? So this is the reader's attention span, right? And most pages spike interest at the start, drop in the middle, and then try to spike it again at the end. And that's absolute chaos, right? So this three-step sales page builds a smooth rise, right? The open grabs attention, the shift builds belief, and the close locks the decision. It's a perfect story, right? As someone scrolls and reads, emotional buy-in increases. And by the end of the page, buying feels like closing the loop because it compounds the reader's trust and in turn you see colossal improvements on your conversion rates. Now let's talk about this $180,270 result without ads, right? Without a massive email list or a huge following. Just the one sales page that we optimize for our target avatar. And if you nail these three steps, every piece of free traffic you already have becomes fuel for your offer. Because now instead of throwing all this attention into a leaky funnel, you're sending it into a page that strongly focuses on the reader's belief. That's why we call it free traffic scaling. You're not scaling the traffic, you're scaling the conversion rates of your offers for free. Now, if you implement the system correctly, everything becomes easier, right? You don't have to be staring at your screen for what seems to be hours wondering what to write. You don't have to get AI to write literal nonsense for you. And you don't have to work the extra 4 or 5 hours a day keeping up with both your content schedule and figuring out where your marketing is failing, okay? Your sole job would be to convert that attention into conviction through your content and then into your sales page. So here's what I want you to do. Pull up your current sales page and ask yourself these three questions. 1, does my open make my avatar feel seen? 2, does my shift make my target avatar believe in the product? And 3, does my close make it easy to act on? And if the answer is no to any of these, right? That's where your money is leaking. Okay, so here's a little summary of what we've went through. Okay, ads can buy attention, but they can't buy alignment. So if your page isn't aligned with your target avatar's pain, solving them through your unique mechanism and making it a no-brainer for the prospect to say yes to your offer, every click is wasted. But if it is aligned, if every line, every scroll, and every sentence moves them closer to belief, you don't need to chase them through paid advertising because they're going to start chasing you. Anyways, that's it for today, guys. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want me to work on your coaching, course selling, or consulting business, check the link in the description and book a call with me. Thanks.